Hello, thanks for joining us. Coming up on today's show. A year on from his death on stage in Ivory Coast, tributes to the king of Congolese rumba music, Papa Wemba, a music and style icon. Band of Horses frontman Ben Bridwell talks about accidental fame, his 4 daughters, and finding hope in moody music. And Agua Sonic, the fluid sounds of this Danish band taking music to new depths. He was the king of Congolese rumba music. Papa Wemba gave his last ever performance at the Festival of Urban Music in Ivory Coast in 2016. He died on stage. A year on, the festival is paying tribute to the giant of African music, dedicating the 10th edition to him. A square in the capital Abidjan has also been named after Papa Wemba, and a plaque has been unveiled in his memory. As well as being a music icon, Papa Wemba was known for his style. The Congolese group Sapa is a band of men who turn the art of dressing into a cultural statement. They're also paying homage to the singer, as Katerina Vitozzi reports.
Some fans love to make a statement. Cardinal Ekumani, as he's known, has just returned from a visit to Papa Wemba's grave in the capital of the Democratic Republic of Congo. Ekumani is a member of the Sapa movement and a fashion designer. He made clothes for Wemba, the king of Congolese rumba.
This is me with Papa Wemba. It was in 2013.
He says Papa Wemba was more than just someone to dress. He was an icon.
He showed us the way. For the sapeurs, he was like the Pope, an imam, a sheikh. When Papa Wemba sang about having good hair, being well-groomed, well-perfumed, well, that's us. Clean haircuts, well-groomed, well-perfumed. That's it. That's our philosophy.
Show-offs, dandies, lovers of style and of beautiful things, the Sappers were once viewed as a criminal gang. But Papa Wemba changed that image.
I believe Papa Wemba legitimized the sapeur. People had a complex. They weren't happy in their skin. Papa Wemba succeeded in breaking through that barrier and bringing the sap philosophy to everyone, to make it acceptable in everyday life. And today, you can see lots of young people who live by the sapeur philosophy.
It's been a year since Papa Wemba's death, and Ivorian sappers have gathered to honour their mentor in a week of parades and memorials. For them, the king of the sap lives on.
Now to one of the greats in 20th century French poetry. It's the 40th anniversary of Jacques Prévert's death. As a French cultural icon, he still exerts enormous influence on how even the youngest of French minds are formed. Alexander Hurst has this look back at his life.
Tu m'aimais et je t'aimais. Jacques Prévert was a poet whose words were often inspired by aimlessly wandering through Paris. They have a lyrical quality that lends them well to song. And singing is how French school children are usually introduced to the bon vivant, who is an unforgettable part of France's heritage. In 1918, Prévert began a brief stint in the military, where he met intellectuals who he later reconnected with upon his return to Paris. There, he spent time with the writers Raymond Queneau and Marcel Duhamel. And in the 1930s was a member of October, a theater group that supported ongoing workers' strikes. Later in life, he dabbled in cinema and moved closer to the world of songs. In 1945, he wrote the song Les Feuilles Mortes, or Autumn Leaves, for a film. The film fizzled, but the song became famous. Toi qui m'aimais, moi qui t'aimais.
It's one of the 3 French songs that is sung the most throughout the world. There have been 600 covers of Les Feuilles Mortes, or Autumn Leaves, internationally. It began with Frank Sinatra, who sang it, and recently includes Bob Dylan.
40 years after Prévert's death, his works are still commonly seen on stage, like this play, done for children and their parents.
What's great about Prévert is that he has a strong message on so many issues, but he always stays positive.
Prévert contemplated and deconstructed the world from this terrace in Pigalle. And though he's gone, his body of work remains part of France's priceless heritage.
Next to a band of American country rockers who want to take over the world, Band of Horses formed more than a decade ago in Seattle. They're touring Europe, and the frontman Ben Bridwell sat down with France 24's Jessica Sestili in Paris to talk about accidental fame, his 4 daughters, and finding hope in his moody music.
I'd never meant to be in a band, or I worked in a kitchen, you know. This very improbable scenario that got me into this job didn't happen until my later 20s. So I was already a bit, you know, out of the danger zone of like falling prey to a lot of the, I don't know, the big ego boost maybe, or the trappings of rock and roll excess. But I think I hold up pretty well though at the same time. I mean, I've always kind of been kind of gnarly. Just voracious feeder on all music, new and old, that I can find. So I'm sure it all gets in there somehow, you know. And I guess in the beginning stages, I was just trying to figure out even how I would approach singing. I did lean a lot towards my love for Neil Young, the Flaming Lips, and Built to Spill, and you know the fellas that sing in like the higher register like that. So I know, at least in the beginning stages, I'm sure I was very heavily influenced by that. Times when I couldn't be at home. Having the kids and stuff and being married has definitely changed me, you know, but I'm surprisingly, I think, the same. There are things that are hard to say at times, you know, for fear of even like the wife or someone being like, is that directed towards me? You know, there's a part of like, you want to be accountable for the muse and not lose, you know, your ability to write how you feel. But you can feel a bit stymied by the outsiders looking in. I'd like to get home and spend more time at home and under the charade of writing a record. You know, I'll pretend like I'm writing, but I should just get home and be a dad. There's always a good balance. There's at least a touch of the opposite end of the spectrum within those, what might seem like just, you know, flat and melancholy. I think there's a lot of hope in the desperation and a lot of light in the dark in there too.
And we're going to play out with a group of Danish musicians who are taking the term fluid tunes to a whole new level. The Between Music Band perform their concerts inside water tanks with instruments specially adapted to resonate in a silent world.
Almost all of the instruments are specially made for underwater. Some of them are inspired by old instruments. So I play a violin, but it's made of carbon fiber, so it can stay underwater.
There's a lot of musical limitations. There are so many things we can't play because of the struggle with the water, the struggle with the sound. But I think what the water gives is that special kind of timbre that you can't get in air.
And we'll leave you with their music. Remember our website, we're also on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram. There's more news coming up on France 24 after this.